The Fantastic Beasts movies had their flaws, but the biggest plot point that the franchise was building towards had me incredibly excited, and now it's possible it may never appear on the big screen. While Harry Potter was a global phenomenon and the movies only made the franchise stronger with nearly $10 billion at the global box office, via the numbers, the spin-off Fantastic Beasts movies were cursed with bad luck. In just 3 movies, the role of Grindelwald is portrayed by 3 different actors, which didn't help the film's continuity. Then, various actors, and even the author of the original stories who penned the scripts for the Fantastic Beasts movies were caught up in drama that put them in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. Ultimately, this confusion and drama, along with the films generally underperforming, led to the franchise being put on indefinite hold after just 3 of the intended 5 movies were made. But that leaves the story of Dumbledore and Grindelwald hanging with no resolution. This is potentially the biggest missed opportunity with the franchise being cut short. I'm sad the Fantastic Beasts movies won't deliver on the Dumbledore and Grindelwald story. Potentially the greatest love story in the wizarding world goes unseen. Considering the extensive lore and backstories of the Harry Potter books and the expanded universe, what happens to Dumbledore and Grindelwald is no secret. However, the Fantastic Beasts movies made a promise to put this precarious relationship on the big screen. The love shared between these characters, which is tested due to their wildly different beliefs and views, is supposed to lead to an eventual duel of epic proportions. And while it's lovely to have the story in the novels and briefly mentioned in the films, this was a moment that I was genuinely incredibly excited to see in live action. And regardless of whether the story played out against Johnny Depp or Mads Mikkelsen, it would have been spectacular to have these heavyweight actors step up to the plate and take on Jude Law's Dumbledore. All 3 actors are incredibly talented, and capable of playing a range of emotions and characters that encompass good, evil, and everything in between. But now, it seems nearly impossible for this love story and duel to ever play out in a visual format. Grindelwald's rise and fall was one of the most exciting parts of the Harry Potter spin-off. Grindelwald has a unique story in the Potterverse. It's no secret that the stories of the villains are often more exciting and compelling than the heroes. The motivations and situations that lead to these characters walking down a path that will make them an outsider, and cause them to do increasingly morally ambiguous things. A hero has a path to becoming the best, but for as long as stories have existed, these stories have already been told countless times. Now, cinema has turned its attention to the villains to try and decipher the puzzles of their minds. Grindelwald was just such a compelling character, who appeared to have a much more nuanced arc than someone like Voldemort. Grindelwald had a bright future, and the potential to be great, along with having the love of a truly great man. But ultimately, he chose to continue on a darker path and do things that severed his connection to his beloved Dumbledore. But by the end of the 3rd movie in the Fantastic Beasts series, his story has only been half told. This is ultimately an incredibly frustrating way for the Dumbledore and Grindelwald story to conclude. Fantastic Beasts 4 not happening means we're stuck with Aberforth's version of events. Aberforth delivers a brief and unmoving love story in Harry Potter. Obviously, as I mentioned above, there are other allusions and accounts of the story within the world of Harry Potter. Most notably, Dumbledore's brother, Aberforth, offers up an account of how Albus and Grindelwald's relationship evolved as the pair became more opposite in their beliefs. And, as lovely as it was to hear Aberforth speak about his brother in the Harry Potter movies, it wasn't nearly the same as getting to experience that play out on the big screen. No shade to Aberforth, but his storytelling only does so much to unpack the complex love story that has the potential to be the greatest love and loss story that exists in the Harry Potter universe. Providing the personal touch of either Dumbledore or Grindelwald's point of view would be invaluable, and could literally change the way the entire story is viewed. Rather than a third-party storyteller providing the details that they think are important, Dumbledore could have put the personal, emotional touch back in. On the other hand, seeing Grindelwald's motivations behind making these choices, despite what he will lose, could have been one of the best parts of these movies. But now, the only account available is Aberforth's watered-down version, with no visual cues or deeper emotions. The Harry Potter franchise can still return to this subplot later on. The future of the wizarding world could be bright. Of course, there is a glimmer of hope that remains. With the Harry Potter franchise set to get a reboot on HBO, the multi-year series has a lot of room to explain and explore details that couldn't be properly examined in the movies. There is every opportunity that this series will include flashbacks and take a closer look at pivotal characters, such as Snape, Harry's parents, Sirius Black, and Dumbledore. The show can finally give these characters the attention they deserve, and show off their stories visually. If the show does go down this route, Dumbledore and Grindelwald's story could play out, and we can finally see the duel that ends their relationship. On the other hand, it's possible that the TV show would reignite excitement and enthusiasm for the franchise in such a way that revisiting the fourth and fifth installments of Fantastic Beasts could be an option. After all, director David Yates, who helmed all the prequel films and the final 4 Harry Potter films, has said that the Fantastic Beasts movies are simply parked, which could mean they will come back down the road.